Hello everyone and welcome back to CWLbuilds. I'm Caleb and today we're going to be making something a little different than normal. It's this cutting board. Now, right off the bat, I'd like to say that I am not a woodworker. I know how to work with wood, but I don't consider myself a woodworker like Jimmy DiResta, Peter Brown, or Nick Offerman. But I'd really like to get into it, and I think you can make beautiful, beautiful things with it. So if you're a woodworker and you're watching this video, let me know down in the comments helpful tips, tricks, or projects that I can do that would be for a beginner in woodworking. Here I have two 3-foot sections of maple and cherry. Maple being the darker one and cherry being the lighter one. Now I cut two 16-inch sections out of those two 3-foot sections. And here I am cutting those 16-inch sections. So now's the fun part, deciding what pattern your cutting board is going to be. So I played around a little bit, putting them in the middle, putting on the edges, and what I ended up coming up with was the two pieces of cherry in the middle, but one cherry piece flipped to the dark side and one to the light side, like this. I elevated the wood on these two cardboard spacers, and I'll be using this acid brush and this tight bond wood glue to glue the pieces together. So now I'm going to use this L ruler and mark each end to make each corner of the cutting board 90 degrees. Using a table saw would probably be the best way to cut this end off, but since my table saw is covered in Halloween decorations and this was such a small end piece to cut off, I decided to use the circular sander. Now comes time for the scariest tool in this whole process, the planer. The planer knocks down all the flat edges on the cutting board, allowing it to be perfectly smooth, and in the process, taking off those pesky stickers and any squeeze out from the wood glue. And now it is time for sanding. I have different sanding sponges. I'm going to start with 320. Then move up to 400, 500, and all the way up to 1000 grit. I hand sand all the sharp edges on the board. You could use a router for this, but I like hand sanding because you can get a really small corner that's still sharp, but not sharp to the touch. And here we get our first view of what the cutting board will look like after the oil is put on it. This is just a little bit of rubbing alcohol that I use to clean off all the dust particles from the top of the board. And for the final finish on this, I'll be using this Howard Butcher Block conditioner. It is a mineral oil mixed with some natural waxes. And I'll be putting on 3 to 4 coats for this brand new cutting board. Now the directions for this said that it went on best warm, so I took my heat gun and lightly heated up all the surfaces to kind of melt the wax and the mineral oil into the wood. And this is the fourth and final coat before I flip the cutting board over and work on the other side. So I wanted to create kind of a brand that I could wood burn onto the back of this cutting board to show that it is one of my pieces. And so I decided to go with my initials, which are CL, or my full initials, which are CWL, which is how I get CWLbuilds. And I started with the 2 letters and decided to go to the 3. Then I figured out that the C would be hard to do on a wood burner, so I made the C out of straight lines, which already had straight lines for the W and L. So this is the final decision I came to, was this kind of fat V on the side, which is a C, W, and L, like that, all one continuous piece. So I have the backside here, and I decided I would do it in this little corner piece so it would stay on the cherry. So here I am, wood burning it in. Once I finished wood burning my brand in, I covered the backside with 4 coats of the oil, just like the front. And there we have it, the completed cutting board. I really enjoyed making this, and it's a pretty easy project, especially for a beginner woodworker like myself. So if you're just getting into woodworking or are already a beginner and want more projects, I think this is a great project for a first-time woodworker or a beginner. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you liked it, let me know in the comments. Let me know those suggestions for future videos or tips and tricks. And if you want to subscribe, that would be great. I'm almost at 100 subscribers at this point. I have 86, I believe, so that's pretty cool for me. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.